Hi everyone, so today we're going to go over how to do radioactive decay and half-life and problems like that. Okay, so first of all, I assume you're familiar with this equation. Sometimes you see a negative sign in front of the K. That just probably depends on the preference of the person. I personally prefer K itself to be negative instead of having K be positive and putting a negative sign in front of it. But either way, you'll end up with the same answer. Just in my examples, I have K as being negative. Okay, so usually in these types of problems, you'll be provided with a bunch of different information. So for example, I'll give you one problem. The example of a problem is that you start with 500 grams of something, whatever it is. The half-life of this substance is, we'll say, 45 days. And what I'm going to have you solve for is the amount of time it takes to get down to 200 grams of that same substance that you started with 500 grams with. And so if you want to pause the video and try to figure it out on your own and see what answer you get and compare it to the answer I got, you can do that. Or you can follow along with me and I will explain exactly how to do this problem. So yeah, we're solving for what amount of time it takes to get down to 200 grams. And so now, the first step in these types of problems is always to set 1/2 equal to e to the k times t in the exponent. Now I will explain exactly how I got this, but this is just, knowing that equation is just a shortcut. Okay, so what you want to solve for in these equations is k, because usually k is not provided to you. And so what you want to do is take the equation from above and set n of t equal to the original amount times e to the 45k in the exponent. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because you know that the half-life is 45 days, and you want to solve for k. And so since you know the half-life is 45 days, and you know the amount you start with, you know that after one half-life, kind of like one span of 45 days, you'll have exactly half of what you started with, which means you have enough to solve for k, if that makes sense. And so you know half of 500 is 250, and that is equal to the original amount, 500 times e to the 45k. And so now you divide both sides by 500, and you get 1/2 on the left side equal to e to the 45k on the right side. Now as you can see, this equation is the same as above, just 45 is plugged in for t. And so if you know the equation from above, and you're solving for k, then that's just a shortcut and it will save you time to know that equation. But if you need to just solve it out every time, then that's fine too. Okay, so now we're going to actually solve for k. So 1/2 equals e to the 45k. What you're going to do for this is you're going to take the ln of both sides. Now hopefully you know what this means. If you don't, I can make another video if you need that, but hopefully you do know what this means. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the ln of both sides, and you get ln of 1/2 equals ln of e to the 45k. Now, as you should know, ln of e cancels out to just 1, so you get ln of 1/2 equals 45k. So then you're going to divide both sides by 45, and then you get ln of 1/2 divided by 45. And that, I will go and do that on my calculator right now to find out what that is. So let's see. Oops, sorry. So ln of 1/2 divided by 45. So that is equal to negative 0.0154. Now, depending on what your teacher prefers, you can either use this rounded number or you can use the unrounded number in the calculator and use answer to bring that down or click on it to bring it down, either way. But you should get around the same answer both times. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the original equation and you're going to plug in what you want to find out. So what you want to find out is how much time it takes to get down to 200 grams. Now 200 grams is the amount you end up with, which means it's on the left side of the equation. So you get 200 equals, and now you know the original amount, which is 500, right? And so you plug that in, and then you put E, which is a constant, and now K. I'm just going to put the letter K, but this letter represents the number that we already found up above. So you don't need to write it out again, you can just write K as long as you know to plug the number in when you actually solve the equation. And then T is what we're solving for, so we're going to leave that as a variable. Now you can divide both sides by 500, so you get 200 over 500 equals E to the K times T. And now that equals 0.4 equals E to the K times T. Now you can ln both sides again. So you get ln of 0.4 equals ln of E to the K times T. And then that cancels out to 1, so you get ln of 0.4 equals K times T. And since you know what K is from up above, which is negative, so you get ln of 0.4 divided by K equals T. And so in this instance, when you plug it into the calculator, again, you can either use the rounded number for K, or you can use the number for K that is not rounded. It's up to you. Alright, so the answer we get, so that's the number we're going to plug in again, negative 0.0154, either rounded or unrounded. And so when you plug that in, the answer that you get is 59.49 days. So you can either, since it's days, you normally wouldn't have fractions, so you can either say like about 59, 60 days, depending on which way you want to go over that, or you can just leave it as a decimal. Alright, yeah, so this is how you would solve a half-life or radioactive decay problem. This is one type, but if you're solving for other variables, you would just do different steps, but it's just like the same thing. So the first step, number 1, know the equation. That's important. You most likely have to memorize that. Step number 2, figure out what you're solving for. In this case, we were solving for the time that it takes to get to 200 grams. Step 3, I would recommend knowing the shortcut of 1/2 equals E to the K times T. And step number 4, actually plug in numbers and solve for the variable that is unknown. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and leave any comments with any questions. Thank you.